absolutely. We're rooting as fans as well, and I know as fans, we want to see some poetic justice for Gene. What do you think a happy ending would be for someone like Gene, who was previously Saul Goodman? What would be a happy ending for him?
Sorry, I like to be surprised. I don't even try to make up my mind on what would be wonderful and what wouldn't, because then I would be disappointed
Yeah,
if it's not exactly the way I imagined it to be. So
yeah.
I'm not even going there. What do you think?
I think personally, I think Gene's going to get busted. I think somehow, some way, Gene's going to get busted. I'm trying to think. Most of these iconic characters have ended up under the ground. I don't know if anyone really got arrested, right? So maybe it is Gene that is the one that gets arrested, and maybe Kimmy's the one that ends up, bailing him out, or potentially, bailing him out or seeing him in prison. That would be a pretty iconic scene, seeing Jimmy behind bars.
I don't think you'll get busted, man. He's too much of a good man. He's a good fella.
Yeah,
I don't know.
harder than all of us.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, but old Hollywood. It's like I still think of uh, Jonathan Banks, and I I used to have a friend. She was like 75 years old, and I met her at a function, and I was reading a James Dean biography, and she asked me what I was reading, and I said, "Oh, that biography about Jimmy Dean," and then she was like, "Oh my God, I used to date him," and I opened the book, and on the four pictures, the black and white pictures that were in this old biography, one of the pictures were my friend, and I was just reading on that very page where that picture was at, and that's how we became fast friends, because she happened to be like on that very picture that I was just reading this book at. And she told me so many great stories about old Hollywood. And I who did Before Sunrise? Ethan Hawke. He's just doing this documentary about Paul Newman. I'm really
Mhm.
excited about that coming out. Um, my friend, her name was Aline Martel. She died a few years ago. She used to be Mrs. Spock in the original Star Trek series. And she told me then about her relationships with Clark Gable, and later on with Marlon Brando. And before that, James Dean. It was just so exciting to learn about, just what kind of lives they were living. And I always found this fascinating. Also coming to Hollywood, having grown up with the dubbed versions of them where they speak in German in a very dark and manly voice if it's a man. Or if it's a woman, they probably raise the voice, the pitch to an octave, like, "Oh, hello, I'm Elizabeth Taylor." And make the humans even more extreme giants of the screen and less humane. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, as far as what was it like, growing up in Germany, obviously being a fan of old Hollywood, and were there, you mentioned guys like Marlon Brando and Clark Gable. Were there what were some of the movies that you watched growing up that kind of inspired you to want to get into Hollywood?
I'm a kid of the 80s, so it was a lot of Steven Spielberg growing up, and then later everything Jim Jarmusch, Tom Waits, um, Quentin Tarantino, pretty mainstream. If
Yeah.
I find the odd art house music, a movie that I liked, it would probably be European or Korean, but Hollywood was, yeah, just the mainstream stuff people used to go and watch in the German theaters in a dubbing version in German, which is always fun.